Welcome back, everybody, to round 3 of Arcane Games and Events July Open. I'm sitting here with Marcus Brown, ready to bring you another banger of a game. We have New versus Zen, the new Mistveil heroes pairing up against each other. How are you feeling about this match, Marcus?
I'm interested.
Yeah.
We're showcasing the Mystic heroes. There is a lot to be said about how the matchup can go because arguably, considering like the advantage you have as a Mystic hero, you can run away with the game somewhat. Zen can just pop off without a lot of agency from the opponent. Nu can do arguably the same by like nicking good blues and just interrupting your hand, taking things away, bonds of agony, etc., etc.
Yeah, the way that I've heard this kind of talked about in the overall meta is that Nu is kind of the counter pick into Zen, but that being said, Zen is so powerful that we end up with a pretty even match, which is why I think I'm so excited for this game to see how it unfolds.
Yeah, it can definitely also feel less one-sided post-bans because Zen no longer has access to yellow and blue bonds of ancestry.
Right, yeah. Yep, that's the talk of the town right now. The recent bans and restricted announcement, cutting back some of that ceiling, some of that power of Zen, but it doesn't seem to have stopped these top players from reconfiguring the deck and getting it to be something worth playing.
No, I don't think the power has been... It's been neutered, but like it's still a very solid and arguably best deck in format.
Yep, yep.
Okay.
We'll take you into the round here in just a moment as the players are getting set up. We've got Peter Buddensiek playing Zen, Tamer of Purpose, and Andrew Rudin on New Alluring Desire. Both of these players, fantastic flesh and blood players. We see them at the top tables all the time here at Arcane Games and Events.
Yeah, but both outspoken and good pilots on a variety of decks, honestly.
Yep, yep. We see the players shuffling up and getting ready. I don't know if we know who's going first or second, but I imagine Zen likes to go second. This is probably a tempo match in that sense. So both players wanting or preferring to go second here. But we'll have to wait and see how the dice lands and what the players decide.
Yeah, he definitely wants tempo to start with, but there is always a risk because Zen doesn't really run defense reactions. So getting caught with your hand interrupted on a turn 0, especially if it's Bonds of Agony, if you take a key play piece away from Zen on their turn 0, that can be pretty devastating to set you up.
Yeah, I know that LSS was talking about their internal testing and finding that the Zen into New matchup in their testing actually required the Zen to play a little bit more defensively. But what we've seen as the meta has entered the global market, the Zens are maybe not doing that as much, finding maybe more efficient ways than they could internally to push the damage without needing to stop these powerful on hits. But again, New being the kind of supposed counter into Zen certainly will matter a lot if Andrew is able to, say, connect a Bonds of Agony, taking away all copies of the banned card.
Bonds?
Bonds, thank
of
you.
Ancestry.
Bonds
just
of
red.
Ancestry.
Just red now.
Yep. So getting all 3 copies out of the deck could be a devastating blow to Peter. So he will need to be thinking about blocking when those key cards come out. In addition to the Bonds of Agony, we have the Prognosis card, another absolute bomb in Andrew Rudin's deck, especially paired with one of these attack reactions like just a Nick, able to pump those up surprisingly high, +5 on a blue as long as it has 1 base power. So we've got the players almost ready to go here. Rolling for first.
Andrew gets a 5.
Oh,
Peter also gets a 5 in the same configuration.
Maybe that is a tell for how close our match
6.
will be.
Okay, one more
neck
match
and
we go
already.
to Monopoly jail.
Wow.
I'll allow it.
There we go.
The beautiful New Marvel on Andrew Rudin's side.
Peter sitting pretty with Japanese cards as well in his equipment suite.
Yeah, I think that's one of my favorite things about the art in this set is we've got the Japanese versions and the calligraphy, the beauty of the Japanese language written just makes these cards feel so great.
Feels authentic in a way.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Looks like Andrew is going first. So Peter choosing second, wants that tempo.
Yeah, let's take a peek at Andrew's hand, see what decisions he's about to make.
Is that the right button? There it is.
There we go. Just at the moment that he turns us over to see the prism save. Okay.
Yep.
Enlighten Strike, sink below.
Yeah.
So no reactions in this hand.
Yeah. Sink is a good arsenal target. I think one of the difficult decisions to make at the beginning is how much do you want to filter versus how much do you want to allow your opponent to filter. So Andrew Rudin feeling like he really needs to filter his hand out and get something better, deciding to swing in, whereas Peter says, I think I'll take the damage, maybe liking his hand, not wanting to filter anything out. We see actually a Bonds of Ancestry in his hand as I shift over, seeing maybe why he doesn't want to block. Yeah, he's got the Descendant Bonds right out the gate. So really, really strong opening hand from Peter.
I got the wrong side of daggers.
Don't worry, Andrew. No one will notice on camera that your daggers are the wrong way round.
And we've got the end of turn 0 here. Passing it over to Peter. Now, he doesn't have a graveyard yet, so that Descendant Bonds combo is not really online until he's able to fill it with some more stuff and
I only have 3 cards.
allows him to search. So he's just starting off with the Tiger Taming Kakara, and there is the Descendant coming out. 3 go again.
It's entirely possible he just pockets the bonds.
Yeah.
So it's live for a future turn.
Makes sense. Then he can search up. Oh, and he just goes for it. 4 go again. Not going to be able to activate the ability, but it seems like he just wants to start out with the tempo and get them in the graveyard. I do not fault him for doing this. Getting those in the graveyard early is a very strong play, even if they don't push the damage this turn.
Yep. 1 go again.
Got Andrew swinging in with the Scale Peeler.
And the very beautiful Codex of Frailty, Marvel.
I really like the Scale Peeler choice into the Zen. One of the things that Zen really wants to be able to do is block out with that armor on pivotal turns, and the Scale Peeler can actually disallow the value you get from those blocks and actually create the ability to hit with those critical on hits, discards, banishes that Nu is able to do despite the 7 block that we see on Peter's side. So that Scalar Peeler is actually a really interesting call on Andrew's side, and I really like that into the Zen.
Yeah, previously for other assassins, it was employed into warriors because it denies the value you get turn by turn on Valiant Dynamos. But in this instance, Zen wants to basically take nearly all of his equipment at some points, or even just his Stride of Reprisal, and put it over the other side of the table and say, I want a card out of blocking with armor. I don't care the value I really get.
So rather than getting recurring value through the game, it's about getting that one critical hit and preventing the turn that Peter or the Zen player wants to pop off. It can really hamper that.
Yeah, because no one ever wants to like put the Traverse ahead and block 1.
Right, yeah.
And then get your chi. You want the full value.
Yep, absolutely. Ooh, and we see another Descendant. Does he have the natural bonds?
It's entirely possible.
And there it is.
Oh, he does.
Just rips it, and wow. Oh, goes for the 100 wins. Great start for Peter. But Andrew, with all the D-reacts his heart could possibly desire this turn.
Now this is good rate for Peter.
Yeah.
And it's good to start off well like this, but quite honestly, without it being paired with an Art of War or I forget the card, the blue one that boosts the whole.
Yeah, is that Ancestral Harmony?
Yeah.
Yep.
Without it being paired with like an Anthem effect, so to speak, like that. He's doing good rate damage, but it's not like an incredible power turn.
Yeah, he's already gone through 2 copies of his power card here. So only 1 Bonds left in the deck makes me wonder if he's going to be able to do that thing that Zen does so well with these 35 plus damage turns. He could be a little bit risky in setting something enormous up like we've seen from Zen's in this meta with all 3 colors. as he comes in with the tiger taming Kakara for 2. Andrew Rudin protecting his life well, still at 38, now 36.
Harmony of the Huts.
Yep, 3 go again. Creates a crouching tiger in his hand. This will get +1 from the Kakara, and if he plays another 1 or less, it'll also get buffed up by the Shuko. This one coming in for 1. Andrew takes it, and there we see the tiger swipe. This is a very strong card. I think its stocks went up with the bonds ban. Now he needs to rely a little bit more on the tiger value. So seeing the tiger swipe come out, this is usually a must block. Andrew really seems to like his hand, though. Decides he'll take it, give Peter the extra tiger, and that tiger is going to come in for, I want to say 1 from the Shuko, and then he ends it with a Warmonger's Diplomacy. So
interesting.
This card is, it's obviously a very powerful effect, but into new, who has a lot of reactions, it may actually not do that much. It really depends on the texture of Andrew Rudin's hand. We'll take a look at it now as we see not his hand, but his shoulder. So not a lot of information on that. I am making out a couple, I think, was that a Command and Conquer?
He's got a Command and Conquer.
Yep,
He's got
the
a Chi.
beautiful Marvel version.
And I think that's just a Nick.
Right. So interesting to see him not block. Maybe he was hoping to.
The main value here on Warmongers is that it prevents a Codex at the very end of the chain.
Right.
And given that Andrew has no arsenal currently, reading the room, it looks like Codex could be on this turn.
Yeah, yeah. So Andrew swinging in with the Mist Blade, threatening his next blue to get +1 and go again, and the Mist Blade does connect. So we'll see if Andrew has a good follow-up to this. Unfortunately positioned, blocking us out from being able to see his hand still. So we'll have to do it from the top view.
Yeah,
Looks like he has...
He's a surgical,
Yep.
yeah.
Surgical. So that's a fantastic... Oh, but he doesn't have the blues to support it. So instead, he comes in with the Scale Peeler, and once again, Peter just saying, fine by me.
Dagger, dagger, CNC.
Yeah, really great play. Getting a lot of value in preventing the armor that could help block out.
And Peter
the
just
CNC.
says, I didn't need this arsenal.
Yeah.
I'll let it go.
Yeah.
C'est la vie. And Andrew pockets that
Yep.
surgical and moves on.
Peter's got a little bit of a lead here. 29 life at the start of his turn means he's ahead and now threatening more damage. Coming in with the Kakara, 2 damage, go again. Waiting for the follow-up from Andrew. How he'll block this out or not. Goes ahead and takes it. Spinning wheel kick. Coming in 4, go again.
Andrew weighs up his blocks,
Yep.
consults his hand.
I wonder if Peter saw the Siren's Call as he lowered it down.
Ah, beautiful.
Yep.
Promo Oasis. I love this art.
Yep, Oasis Respite. Using the Tunic value. Gaining the life as well. And then the final card coming out from Peter.
5
5.
draw a card.
Choosing draw. Yep, I like that play a lot. The ability to fill the arsenal back up really benefits. It's one of the things that makes E-Strike so flexible and powerful. 5 draw card is the best mode if you can play it in that.
Yeah. The good thing in this scenario is that Peter's recognized that he's not really seeing the power cards quite yet. Neither player has actually transcended yet, despite both being on Mystic Heroes. So he's just keeping up with like decent damage and like being card efficient and replenishing his arsenal, honestly.
Yeah, getting to those transcend cards is absolutely one of the win conditions of Peter. Andrew may have a little bit less reliance on that. Although his mask is certainly a disruptive effect that he can utilize the chi in.
Yeah, this is honestly a double whammy. I kind of like this play, but it behooves Andrew, considering that he just had to pitch 2 reds to make this happen.
Yeah, a little bit underrate 3-card 4 with an on-hit, but the on-hit is relevant, and Peter, with a 5-card hand would really like to keep it, but he cannot do that this turn unless he decides to give up armor. Andrew, with 1 card left in hand, could threaten some pumps.
So Peter respects it.
Yep.
However, Andrew will transcend and gets his choice of a possible blue.
Yeah, looks like
I
he's
believe
going
the
to...
only real blue here is this round's on me or the Warmongers. So no attacks.
So he's going to go ahead and banish the 100
banish
wins.
a bonds target, yeah.
Exactly. So really smart play here from Andrew, recognizing that a lot of the power of Zen comes from being able to recur things from the graveyard, or rather search them up. And here we just see the blue be like water. Very interesting card in the Zen list. Seems kind of unthreatening, but it actually has a lot of potential to be a starter. So Andrew respecting that and blocking with his boots.
Yeah, blue Be Like Water actually fills a couple roles. I'm not so sure if it was in the initial lists when Mistveil first came out, but it transcends for you. It turns on Shuko.
Yeah, very flexible
It
card.
can name Surging Strike.
Oh, and we see the bonds turn with the go again. One of the trickiest things you can play as new is a Bonds of Agony with go again. It's reminiscent of the Dorinthia play where they, fake you out. You put your entire hand in front of it, and then they just
Twinning Blade.
Twinning Blade, exactly. And he's got that. He's threatening. Well, do you want to block this out? Give me the hand, or do you want to take the hit?
Yeah, so it's entirely in that same way, like you mentioned, Michael, with Dorinthia, entirely dependent on how the opposing player respects its on hit.
Yep. And it looks like we just saw a Sink Blow and a Command and Conquer in Andrew's hand. So he's going to have to bluff this one to get cards from Peter, really hoping that Peter is feeling threatened by this effect. And we all know how powerful it is. So does Peter decide to respect it? Or does he say, nah, I don't think you have it. 2 cards in hand.
I think one tell that Andrew might not be packing this for real is that he hasn't blocked with his Rousing Wave.
Right.
So Peter just opts to give 1 card and says, show me what you got. 1 card for 1 card is perfectly even.
Yep. I think this was very well played by Peter. As Andrew thinks about how he wants to close this out.
Yeah. But the follow-up is just pitch the sink and send CNC.
Yeah, I'm sure Andrew is sitting here wishing he had an attack react. Just a Nick would be phenomenal in this spot, but does not have it.
Like, we're seeing a decent amount of like a tit for a tat, like actual flesh and blood, as it was meant to be played.
Yeah, absolutely. Very even paced game. We're seeing blocking on both sides, aggression bursts. Now, I wonder what Andrew is thinking so much about it. Seems like...
Okay.
Interesting.
So he does want to push.
Yep. Chooses to pop his boots, getting the slither. Yep, so he values the on-hit and pump more than sending that CNC as he pitches it away to do both the slither on an attack that already has go again, as well as the +1. So losing the glove's block value. So a lot was committed there from Andrew to enable the on-hit from this bonds, but it looks like he really wants that effect to connect here, as he sees a Warmonger's Diplomacy, a Tiger Swipe, and a red. Can you remind me of that one?
You've got Aspect of Tiger, body, the red.
Yep.
Tiger Swipe and Warmonger's Diplomacy.
So what do you pick in this situation if you're Andrew?
I mean, it's really tough to make the hand worth anything when you take the blue in Warmongers.
Yeah.
However,
really interesting. I thought he was going to go for the Tiger Swipe, but it looks like he values taking out that Aspect of body.
The thing about Tiger Swipe's face-up value is that it's a 2. So it's a combo piece.
Right, and he doesn't have the combo in hand at the moment. So just taking the immediate value over the potential long-term value. But that's actually a difficult decision, I think, to make.
And I think Andrew might have sized up the fact that he hasn't seen a single Art of War out of Peter yet. So taking aspect of body or aspect of tiger body, because it produces a tiger when it follows a red, that really plays well with Art of War.
That's a really good point that you're making there. I think one of the fantastic things about watching these
Here
games.
comes E-Strike 7.
Yeah, E-Strike 7, the classic. One of the things I really enjoy about watching these really strong players is seeing how they make these seemingly, you know, unimportant decisions. Like, who cares? Is it Tiger Swipe or the other one? But it really is the difference between winning and losing. And these players have such a strong ability to navigate those tough decisions.
I mean, another consideration is that Andrew says, like, oh, given the blocks that you've given me, my Bonds of Agony can connect, because I know you don't run defense reactions really in this deck at all. So I will hit, and I want to hit some combo pieces and synergistic cards so that your power turns are significantly weaker.
Right.
And he knows they're coming up.
And Andrew gives up the Sink Below from Arsenal to stop 4 from that E-Strike for 7, taking 3, and now coming back with a 4-card hand.
There's a nice grip here.
Yep, starting with that Mist Blade. Coming in for 1. Peter hasn't blocked any of them yet. We'll see what he decides to do.
That was very sly. Peter shot a very close and quick glance to his stride.
Good catch. Maybe wanting to cash that in this turn and get the tiger in hand. Really wanting to set up one of those massive 6-card hands if possible.
There we go.
And there it is.
An easy 1 block. I'll get a tiger, please, sir.
Still hasn't transcended.
No.
So Peter just really needing to get to that point in order to have that explosive Zen turn that he's looking for. Hasn't gotten there yet. So just being patient, playing patient. 25 life.
Yeah. And
Andrew wishing that connected.
Yeah, considering that Mistblade did not connect, he can't send the Art of Desire Mind, the blue one. So he has to send it on this chain link.
Yeah. And
It's not the top, right?
he's got an attack reaction. The thing I love about this card, or love or hate, is that it has the potential to draw you a card, but you don't know if it will until after it's hit.
Yeah, it's kind of a gamble.
So it's hard to tell if you want to give it go again to extend the chain. In this case, he doesn't have the go again, so makes it pretty easy to decide. And he will just go ahead and send that Venomous Bite.
Yeah, he's thinking over if he wants to play it so that he doesn't have an intellect penalty, so to speak.
Right, this is exactly that moment I was talking about, where if he sort of gambles and says, oh, I don't think I'll draw a card, he could IP himself here. So I'm not sure. And it was a red, so
that was the
ultimately
correct.
Yep. Always a tough call, and that's what we're talking about, these difficult sort of razor's edge decisions. Andrew making the right choice.
He has brought the life totals to even, so doing good here.
Yeah, this is scary, though. Andrew now staring down, I think what we see is a 5-card hand plus Arsenal, 6 total from Peter, one of them being a tiger, so not necessarily all the value of a full card unless he plays an Art of War. And that's exactly what we see.
I bet he will banish a tiger.
Yep.
Look at that.
Drawing 2, choosing +1. And this is the moment that Peter could take the game. We'll see how he strings his hand together. Maybe we can take a look at it and see if he's showing us what he's got.
He's got an Ancestral and a drop, so he can transcend here.
Yep, that is massive. CNC not necessarily fitting well into this play, but
yeah, a little clunky.
Tiger Swipe without a tiger in hand. Yeah, is he going to be able to transcend with that drop? That's kind of the worst one that he could have here, isn't it? Because it sort of has to target a card that is already on the chain. Does he have another blue starter?
No, he just has his Ancestral Empowerment.
Yeah, so this isn't, he doesn't quite have the hand that he wants.
Not Empowerment, Ancestral Harmony.
Right, yeah, so just starts off with the Kakara for 2. Andrew says no blocks.
Okay.
Oh, and he decides to pitch it, the Ancestral Harmony.
So he's not gambling here. He's being a bit more patient. Taking the damage he can already see in hand. And quite honestly, the breakpoint of 7 is really annoying for CNC.
Yeah, absolutely. Andrew using his D-React.
Tiger will come in for 2.
Taking that 2 down to 16. And here's the Tiger swipe. So that's online. He's got the combo. And this is kind of one of those moments where it's it would be nice if he didn't have any of those Tiger swipes left in his deck.
Yeah.
But Andrew just giving up
ultra
6, and there's the
punishing here.
CNC. And yeah, no blocking cards in Andrew's hand means he's going to have to give up that arsenal and take 7. Tough, tough chain under Command and Conquer. So big swing turn for Peter. Even though he wasn't really able to transcend, he still found a ton of damage and disruption in that hand.
It passes right back over because Andrew just arsenaled his cheat card and said, I've got nothing else to do.
Yeah. The one benefit of passing back is we know that Peter can't block with his equipment. But I guess, yeah, since he still hasn't, and there's the transcend. I was just saying he hasn't transcended yet, but there it is. Now his helmet is online. He finds the bonds.
Puts bonds back into the deck.
This is terrifying. Andrew is in a very tough spot, assuming Peter can string something powerful together with that bonds.
True.
See what these players are thinking. Doing some math.
I think it's because Peter holds a bunch of blues.
Yeah, but this.
So he's yet to tutor to Zen.
Yeah. Well, these turns for Zen are so important to sequence correctly. I almost think of them as like Kano light turns. Like you really have to string everything together correctly or you could lose out on a lot of potential damage. And when you're tutoring and thinking of cards that aren't even in your hand, you really have to, think of all the possibilities of what you could do in order to piece together the most damage possible. So these Zen decks really have this opportunity for skill expression from the players as they imagine their way to lethal and then execute on it.
Yeah.
Oh, and we
There's
see
an
an
Art of War
Art of
introduced
War. Drawing 2 cards, +1. Andrew, oh, and another Ancestral, really hoping for a miss, and he got it. A sigh of relief, but we're still expecting a very strong turn with that Bonds of Agony sitting in the Banish Zone.
This would be 3 with.
Yeah, turns a blue Descendant into a red here.
Yeah, extremely powerful. Andrew just shaking his head. I think he knows that if this is the Zen turn that we've all seen time and time again, this might spell defeat for him.
Yeah, I can definitely feel some of his frustration because when he had tempo, some of his turns,
right,
the hand just didn't align.
Yeah, he really wanted maybe a Justin Nick or some attack reaction that didn't require him to use both of his equipment for a measly 6 damage, and not even that effective of a banish.
Gain a resource.
But in response to that, like Peter was like patient and knew where the Art of War turns were coming in, and we're seeing it unfold right in front of us.
Yep. And there's the Bonds coming in for 6 damage. Go again. 0 cost. Andrew just
ready to block.
Yeah. You can see he's like doesn't want to. He doesn't want to have to do this, but he has no other choice sitting at 7 life. He's just forced to give up a hand, and he knows what's coming. He knows 3 more cards in hand after this 100 wins. And there's the last card, taking 2 down to 5. No cards in hand for Andrew.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, and a blue 100 wins coming in for 4, taking Andrew down to 1.
Why can't my blues do that?
Yeah.
Block 2, take 3.
3, 2.
And the E strike.
Oh,
That's going to do it.
For 8. Oh no, he'll draw.
Oh, chooses draw. I wonder. Okay.
1.
Maybe fearing the D-React or something in Arsenal.
Take
Yep.
5.
And that's the end.
Well played from Peter. showing us that
Let's start.
all you need is a couple good turns, and Zen can just push so much damage. We were talking about New being kind of the
I had
you know,
a hand.
counter to Zen, but just things not quite lining up for Andrew on the one turn that he needed them
And then
to.
while transcending with a transcend card, so I could have just done that, or now that I think about it, it's like I should have just done that because then that takes 2 cards, whereas playing the CNC only took 1 card.
True.
Andrew giving a bit of his rationale on some of those hands.
But I mean that doesn't change this turn. So
No, this turn is.
what, maybe saves me 4 life.
Yeah, it sounds like the players kind of agree that the way the cards fell sort of told the story of the game.
Okay.
So now that these players have finished up, we will take a quick break and then head into an interview with our winner, Peter Buddensiek, figure out what he's thinking about Zen and the way the games have gone today for him. Looking forward to that. See you all in just a bit.
Don't go anywhere.
Welcome back, folks. I'm seated here with Peter Buddensiek, the winner of round 3, New versus Zen. Tell me about that matchup. How are you feeling?
I feel pretty good. I've been practicing that matchup a decent amount. With one of the probably the best new players in the world, Pankaj. So
Oh, wow.
yeah, I feel pretty comfortable in it. Just know like exactly what I'm supposed to be doing at all times. Know what I'm supposed to set up and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So like feel pretty comfortable in it. It is like obviously Zen's like second to worst like matchup in the game.
We were talking about how like New is technically the counter, but at the same time Zen just has so much power latent in the deck that even the counter maybe can struggle into it.
Yeah, it's a push and pull, right? Like New is incredibly good at disrupting a turn and like asking the question of like, hey, like what I could have a whole bunch of things. Like what could I have to disrupt your turn correctly and stuff like that. So as a Zen player, like you really got to understand like, okay, if they do, X, Y, and Z is how bad it is for me. And you got to like hedge your bets on certain areas and just kind of remember what they've pitched, played, what they could be doing, and then finally getting back through it. So
I think one of the pivotal turns that we saw was when the Bonds of Agony came out. And you decided to only give 1 card in that spot. Can you walk me through your sort of thought process on that?
Yeah, so that turn was pretty interesting. So he goes into it with a 4-card hand, I believe, a 4 or 5 card hand, I believe, and immediately like comes in with the blue dagger.
The misplay hits, and it gives the Bonds go again, which is like a really tough spot to be in because you don't know if he wants to extend past it or go tall on it.
Yeah, in that situation, it's pretty interesting. So he comes in with a 2-go again with the Bonds, and I look at my hand, and I have like a duplicate in my hand. So I think the safest play in that situation is I'm kind of scared if a CNC comes in because I'm trying to hold my arsenal because my arsenal is like a CNC, right?
Okay,
well, not a CNC, it's an E-strike.
Right.
So if I can somehow get out of the turn with only 1 card in my hand, so if he just comes in with a 2-go again, and then like doesn't react on it, and then comes in with the CNC, I've doubled 3 block in my hand to block the CNC, and then keep it, right? So in that situation, like I can block with 3 cards, keep the last card in my hand, and just come in with E-strike, draw a card, have a new arsenal, basically. That's what I was initially thinking. I have a duplicate in my hand, so I had to block with at least 1. I think the plays there is like either blocking 9 on it, 6 on it, or just the first 3 and see what he does.
Yeah.
Because when he gives me his arms and his legs, that's incredibly good for me, right? I don't have to play around the arms and the legs for the rest of the game. Those are like 2 attack reaction, multiple damage, right, for the Bonds.
It kind of turns off the Bonds.
So like future Bonds are like not that good for him. Which I was pretty happy about, like that he gave me the arms and the legs, and also extremely happy that he gave me a red. Which was actually a CNC. Give me a red CNC to activate the arms to do it. Then he takes like, which I think the correct thing was to take the second 0 for 3.
Right.
I think it's body. Like I don't really know. It's in Japanese.
Yeah, we heard you sort of talking about that turn after the game, and you kind of asked him like, why didn't you send the CNC there?
Yeah. I think it's pretty interesting to either send the CNC there or come in there. But I believe the last card in his hand was Oasis, so he didn't actually have. He couldn't threaten the arms with the CNC.
Yeah, he didn't have the resources to do it all. Yeah, I think we could see some frustration on his face. That was kind of the turn that he needed things to go right for him to turn the game around, and they just didn't fall that way. And then after that turn, it looked like you just had back-to-back power turns, and he really didn't have a lot of directions to go except down from there.
Yeah, after having that turn, like coming in with the CNC, no, I keep saying CNC, coming in with the East Strike,
Yeah.
and then like coming into the end of the turn, he actually he like took it, and then I was like, okay, maybe he has like a disruption hand, and then his hand wasn't like extremely disruptive. He was just trying to get at least one card out of me, and I gave him the one card, but I had the insane Art of War turn, and then once it starts snowballing, you don't get out of the Zen snowball. So
yeah, that's exactly what we saw, and just showcasing the power of Zen. The reason that you brought it today, and I'm assuming, kind of feel like maybe this is the best deck in the format.
Yeah. I was pretty vocal on like Twitter about it. That I'm just gonna play the best deck in the format. Like I'm done. Coin flipping Kano. I love Kano. It's a very very fun deck. Like obviously, like very known for playing it. But I think at one time you just had to play the best deck when it's just so much better than the rest of the field. This entire meta is just like there's Zen and every other deck that's trying to beat Zen, and then like the random matchups in between. And I'd rather just be asking the question like, can you beat me? Can you disrupt me? Can you stop what I'm trying to do? If not, I'm gonna win every game. So
Well, I have to ask, being one of the Zens that gets to practice against one of the best news in the world, I think that makes you a great Zen player. How do you feel about the ban?
I think it did absolutely nothing.
Okay.
I think it was. I like. Don't get me wrong. Like it does something, right? Like hitting.
What does it do? I think that's the question that I really want to answer.
From playing bad lists. Like
okay,
I think
that was kind of my feeling is that you like gain consistency by forcing people to cut it.
I think the big thing about the bonds band is I think the 9 bonds decks were like the significantly weaker decks of the Zen list. Like there's the surging list, there's like the 6 bonds list, and there's a 9 bonds list. The 9 bonds list was like significantly the second weakest. I think the surging list was like by far just like shouldn't play that. But like the 9 bond list was the weaker of the two like main lists. And now because you eliminate the yellow and the blue ones, like obviously it hurts the consistency of me being able to like double and triple bonds. On those
you can't do the 6 bonds.
Yeah, you can't do like the incredible amount of bonds that you can do on that turn, but you can still double bonds a lot of the time, and like it hurts because you don't have the blue one for consistency wise. But you can just add different 3-block blues, and the dex is relatively the same. Like you can go consistent with your blues, like just having more 0-for-1s that are just like blues, so you can always transcend on them. You do more of the 3 blocks, like the value blues, like Winds of Eternity, Wind Chakra, anything like you. Basically, you can go in a couple directions instead of getting rid of that bonds, but. I personally just don't think it was enough to hit the character in a meaningful way. Obviously, we'll have to see like how it transpires in like different metas. In the I think the Battle Hardened there was only like 1 today in top 8, but I think like in the Pro Tour we'll see a decent amount of Zen in the top tables.
And I also want to ask you, what is the deck that you fear the most as a Zen player?
Victor.
Yeah,
Victor. Victor and like any like Guardian that is like trying to just like basically block out like not like dedicate fatigue you, but like like play it on hit. Like on hit I'm gonna crush, make sure you're doing that. I have efficient blocks. I'm gonna draw extra cards with like Trounce because they're always gonna win Trounce. They're always going to win like the other clash.
Yeah, the test of strength is a very powerful.
It's just like
4-block draw a card.
Yeah, it's like 1 card blocks 7, and it's like okay, Zen can do like these incredible 30 to 50 damage turns, right? But if I'm going against somebody. But through those turns, I also need to chip them down like normally to get them down. But if I'm playing against a hero that like literally cannot get chipped down because of that reason, and then have an on hit against me, so I can't play 4-card, 5-card hand unless they whiff. Like it just there's so many things that compound on that matchup. Victor is just horrendous.
Okay, so Victor, if you want to counter the Zen, I'm really glad you didn't say Zen. I thought maybe Zen was going to be your answer.
If I could go to the Pro Tour and play 8 rounds of Zen in Swiss, I would take it every single time.
Okay, all right. The man's confident on Zen. I love to hear it. Is there anything else you want to say? Any shout outs? Anything going on in your social media life you want to let us know about?
I mean, follow me on Twitter at Massive Momentum. You can also follow my YouTube. I'm kind of lazy about uploading, but follow my YouTube as well. Then shout out Metal Flat Tokens, obviously the sponsor. The best Metal Flat tokens in the game.
Get your Metal Flat tokens, guys.
Metal Flat tokens.
You see them on every stream. The beautiful go-agains, the dominates, the aim counters.
Yep. Get you all the tokens. They also have great deck boxes and stuff like that. Shout out to them. You'll see our playmats, our like team playmats at the Pro Tour. So it'd be cool.
Great. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Peter, for joining us. And we will take a quick break as we get round 4 set up for everyone else. Don't go anywhere. We've got a lot of flesh and blood left for you today.